Hey y'all, welcome to the first Sidebar with Chinney. You've probably figured this out, but I'm Chinney. I like R&B music and long walks on the beach. I'm kidding, but seriously, I wanted to take this time to do a couple of things. First, I want to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a Virginia native. I'm from a combination of places, Franklin, Southampton County, and Suffolk, respectively. I moved around a bit, but in the short version, I'm a country girl, and I'm super proud of that. The second thing that I want to do is give you a little bit of insight into why this podcast was created, and specifically, why the Sidebar with Chinney segment is so important. In full transparency, I want to let you know that the Keepsake Box series is available in full print and ebook formats. So why is it I feel that this project necessitated a podcast when people could simply read the books? Well, the answer is simple, but also complex. The simple answer is because I wanted to. I love this series and I wanted to provide another avenue for people to enjoy it. I also wanted to create a challenge for myself. This is a homemade podcast. I'm not doing this with any special equipment or a production team. It's just me, my voice, and some basic stuff. There have been some blunders along the way, which you've probably noticed, but I'm considering it a personal challenge to be able to improve over time. As my audience grows with me, I hope that you guys will someday look back at where this started and share the pride that I take in this humble beginning, because I have no doubt that it will get better and better. That's the simple answer. But there's another answer that requires a little bit more complexity and transparency. I want to be honest in that aspect as well. As a Black woman, this podcast represents something that's very important to me. We are often told that we need to walk a very fine line. We have become very skilled in softening our voices, tweaking our dialects, and curbing anything that may be perceived as just a little too Black, because sometimes that makes other races uncomfortable. Consequently, we've evolved into a society that's participating in ethnic erasure. We no longer hear Black sounds on nationally syndicated shows. Everything has been lightened just a little to make sure that it's not too Black. I think that's dangerous and consequential to us as Black people, because how dare we allow someone else to create inferiority around the very things that have made us who we are? With that being said, I wanted to make sure that there are no discrepancies. I'm a Black woman. When you hear my voice, you hear the voice of a Black woman. You hear some of that Southampton County come out here and there, and that's fine. You're aware that the characters are Black. That girl's name is Shalonda. We ain't skirting around that and softening it up. The music in this podcast is mostly urban, and that was intentional, because I want for us to understand the power of pride. We don't have to straddle the fence. The slogan for my company, Simone Devereaux Entertainment, is, "You are the you that you want to be. Create the world that you want to see." This podcast is one of the ways that I'm creating the world that I want to see. I will never accept complacency in a world that wasn't created for me. Now, those two things are out of the way, and we won't ever revisit them. Henceforth, the Sidebar with Chinney segments will be solely for the purpose of conversations related to what's going on with the podcast. So that's thing 3. During the creating of the original project, there were so many times that I wish that I could explain something, but I couldn't because it was a book. This podcast is an amazing opportunity to stop and make some crucial points. Remember that Shalonda is telling this entire story because she's trying to explain how she became a person who ended up in an abusive marriage. I love the fact that I'm able to dig into it a little bit more with this podcast. So let's get into it. At this point, we just finished episode 5, Playing Church. Starting from the beginning, Shalonda is experiencing body shame and made to feel ugly by family and peers. She's uncomfortable with development that's normal for her age, and she's being told that she's too grown and she's just existing. And I think that happens far too frequently in our society. Her mom moves her in with Ron, and she experiences a lot of change at a point where she's already experiencing her own change. Her mom doesn't include her in the changes. She just has to go along with the ride. At a certain point, Shalonda sees things in Ron that concern her, but she's told to stop exaggerating. That makes her feel that she won't be believed if she expresses her concerns. Her mom marries Ron without even telling her, which makes her feel betrayed. That causes distrust between them. Even worse, she's expected to call Ron Dad. Not only is she not allowed to feel uncomfortable with that, but she's punished and ostracized for it. Making matters worse, Ron is allowed to be the disciplinarian in the situation. At the same time, she has to watch her mom actively turn her back on her. Ron crosses the line with the spanking, even more so because he makes her get undressed, something that she has always been taught to feel uncomfortable with. But she can't express that discomfort because she has already been punished for that exact same thing, just in another instance. The next day, Ron walks into Shalonda's bedroom while she's in the shower. She comes out wearing only a robe. Ron pushes the robe aside and places his hand on her bare knee. Shalonda is uncomfortable, but once again, she has learned that she can't express that. The groundwork is being laid for her to be quiet in her discomfort. So that's the end of the first sidebar with Chinney. Future segments will likely be a little more detailed and informative, but this one kind of got eaten up with points A and B, and I didn't want to make it too long. Make sure to tune in for the next episode. It's called Trust and Privileges. It picks right up after Ron starts playing church. I'll let some more of the stories start adding up, and then we'll talk about it on the next sidebar with Chinney. Thank you. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure to follow Chinney Tells a Story on Facebook and Instagram. I'd love to hear from you. If you're interested in purchasing books by Shandora Warren, they're all available on Amazon. I sincerely appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks for helping me to create the world that I want to see. Oh yeah, you're welcome. Shine, little girl.